In early 1913, Cambridge mathematician G. H. Hardy received an unsolicited 9-page letter in the mail sent by an unknown clerk from colonial India. The pages were filled with an onslaught of highly advanced, alien-looking equations. But what made the document truly baffling was what it lacked. There were no proofs, no derivations, and no explanations for how he arrived at these answers. At first glance, Hardy assumed he was looking at the work of a crank, but as he studied the pages closely, he realized the formulas were so complex that no human mind could possibly have the imagination to invent them as a hoax. This notation shows exactly what defeated Hardy. We see deeply nested fractions, folded infinitely inside other expressions. To a classically trained scholar, these materialized out of thin air. The author stated a massively complex premise and leaped directly to the conclusion, bypassing rigorous academic proof. This envelope presented an intellectual crisis. It contained ultimate mathematical truths, yet they arrived completely outside the boundaries of the established Western scientific method. The author of that letter was Srinivasa Ramanujan. In 1913, he was a 25-year-old shipping clerk living in poverty in Madras, South India, with zero formal mathematical training. Despite an obvious early brilliance, Ramanujan had actually flunked out of college twice. His obsession with numbers was so intense that he simply ignored his other subjects, losing his scholarships and isolating himself from the academic world. Working alone, he developed a frantic rhythm. He would rapidly calculate dense problems on a small slate board, hold the intermediate steps in his head, and then erase the board, recording only the final answers in his personal notebooks. When friends asked how he reached these conclusions, Ramanujan's explanation was startling. He claimed he didn't calculate them at all. He believed the mathematical formulas were literally whispered to him in visions by his family's Hindu deity, the goddess Namagiri. Ramanujan's notebooks were completely filled with these unproven insights, but without a command of formal academic language, he was stranded. Reaching out to England was his only way to give his work life beyond his own. Hardy arranged for Ramanujan to travel to Trinity College, Cambridge, at the onset of World War I. It was a journey that required overcoming strict Brahmin travel taboos, an obstacle cleared only after his mother reported another divine vision, granting him permission to cross the ocean. Their collaboration brought together two entirely opposing worldviews. Hardy was a strict, orthodox atheist who demanded absolute, step-by-step classical logic. Ramanujan was a mystic. He possessed an intuition that allowed him to bypass the heavy lifting of logic entirely and leap straight to unproven truths. Hardy's true task in Cambridge was never to teach Ramanujan mathematics. His job was to force his brilliant colleague to translate that raw intuition into the strict, rigorous language required by Western science. Their partnership proved that reaching the frontiers of mathematics required both the blind creative leap of faith and the brutal gauntlet of logical proof. To understand how Ramanujan's mind worked, you only need one anecdote. When Ramanujan was confined to a nursing home, Hardy came to visit. He mentioned he had ridden in a taxicab with the number 1729, casually remarking that it seemed like a rather dull number. From his sickbed, Ramanujan fired back instantly. He told Hardy that 1729 was not dull at all. In fact, it was a fascinating and highly specific integer. He immediately recognized the underlying architecture of that exact number. 1729 is the smallest number that can be expressed as the sum of two positive cubes in two different ways, 1 cubed plus 12 cubed, and 9 cubed plus 10 cubed. Ramanujan perceived individual numbers as intimate friends, each possessing a unique, hidden architecture. This national ration book shows the environment Ramanujan had to navigate. The freezing English climate and strict wartime food rationing shattered his health, making it nearly impossible to maintain his required vegetarian Brahmin diet. He fell into a deep depression and suffered a rapid physical decline, spending months in and out of sanitariums battling a severe infection. Severely weakened, he was forced to return home to India. Just a year later, in 1920, his body gave out. Srinivasa Ramanujan died at the age of 32, a time when most researchers are just beginning their careers. His early death robbed the mathematical community of decades of potential output. It silenced a mind operating on a frequency no one else could hear. Decades passed. Then, in 1976, mathematician George Andrews was sorting through boxes in the Wren Library at Trinity College when he uncovered a stack of papers. It became known as Ramanujan's Lost Notebook. It was a massive mathematical treasure containing over 600 previously unknown formulas, all jotted down in the agonizing final year of his life. When modern researchers finally analyzed these pages, they found something staggering. The equations Ramanujan pulled from his visions a century ago accurately describe physical concepts that had not even been discovered during his lifetime. Today, theoretical physicists use the exact mathematics from Ramanujan's Lost Notebook to map the behavior of black holes, to understand statistical mechanics, and to calculate the multidimensional folds of string theory. Ramanujan's legacy suggests that human logic is only one path to truth. Sometimes, the mind has to take a mystical leap into the infinite and simply wait a century for the rigor of science to catch up.
For more interesting videos like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Why Identity Crisis.